Welcome back to My Life on a GLP-1. I'm your host, Scott Johnson.
And I'm Sarah. So you said on our last episode there is a big announcement. What is it?
Well, Sarah, today we're talking about something that almost no one prepares you for. It's not the journey down the scale, but what happens when you get there. We're talking about the what now phase.
Okay. The maintenance phase, which sounds so simple on paper, but in reality, it's this whole new emotional and psychological landscape you have to navigate. But why is this a big announcement? What am I missing?
Well, it ties into maintenance. So this month, I'm celebrating my 3-year anniversary on these medications. Now, 3 years in, I'm still learning things about this medication that nobody warned me about. Still discovering corners of this experience that the clinical trials glossed over and that the before and after photos on Instagram definitely did not mention. Still finding out, sometimes at the worst possible moment, that my body has opinions I was not consulted on.
It seems like it was just yesterday, but also a lifetime ago. That is why last fall, you published your book, which is available on Amazon. It's a great resource.
It is, but it turns out thousands of you kept asking questions that book one did not answer. Not because I hid anything, but because 3 years ago I did not know the answers yet. I hadn't gotten there. Now I have. So, officially launching later this week, book two, entitled Still on a GLP-1, the honest, hilarious, and surprisingly emotional truth about reaching your goal and maintenance.
Wow, Scott. Congratulations. I mean, the title says a lot, but what is it really about?
This is not a beginner's guide. If you picked up book one hoping to understand whether GLP-1 medications are right for you, whether your doctor will take you seriously, or why the first month feels like a science experiment run by a mischievous universe, that book still exists, and it is still the right starting point. But still on a GLP-1 assumes you survived the beginning. You may be somewhere in the middle of this thing, or you have reached maintenance and are realizing that the finish line you sprinted toward was actually just the start of a whole new race.
What surprised me most about the second half of my own journey, it is not simpler. I assumed that once I got through the chaos of the early months, things would level out into something manageable and predictable. A routine. A new normal.
In some ways, that is exactly what happened. I no longer spend every Tuesday morning wondering if today is the day my stomach finally stages a full rebellion. But the surprises did not stop. They just got weirder and more interesting.
So what fun nuggets do you cover in this new book?
I found out that GLP-1 medications appear to be doing amazing things inside the human body that nobody fully predicted. I also found out how much the social and emotional dimensions of this journey had not been fully mapped. Not by me, not by anyone. I discovered the strange, tender experience of your journey quietly inspires someone you care about to start their own.
So you cover more science, more social and emotional aspects, and some heartwarming stories then.
I sure do, Sarah. I am so proud of this one. And rest assured, I did not leave out the humor. There is a lot in there. I hope you will laugh and maybe shed a tear. But most of all, still on a GLP-1 covers the weird, the wonderful, and the still figuring it out.
Amazing. I love that you call it the still figuring it out. It's so true.
There is something nobody prepares you for when you start a GLP-1 medication, and it is not a side effect you will find in any list. It is the realization somewhere around month 8 or month 14 or month 24 that this has changed who you are, not just your body, just you.
You survived the beginning. That deserves more credit than you probably give yourself. The first injection. The first bad week. The first time you had to explain yourself to someone who didn't get it. The first plateau that made you wonder if this was all a cruel joke. You made it through all of that.
Now here we are, on the other side of the beginning, in the wide, complicated, surprisingly beautiful territory of what comes next. Maintenance, more side effect madness, and new surprises.
Let me say this to everyone listening. Scott gave me a sneak preview of the dedication, introduction, and the final two chapters. When I read those the other night, I laughed and giggled, felt incredibly motivated, and genuinely had tears leaking out of me at the end. So if the rest of the book is like this, you really have raised your author game. This is a must-read for everyone.
I will take that as my first 5-star review. But seriously, life after the confetti and hitting your goal weight is such a void out there, and I am lucky to have been an early adopter and the willingness to share my story.
And I, for one, am thankful for it. So should we shift a bit to today's topic? It's along this line of maintenance, right?
It really is. It's a complete identity shift. And for me, it all kind of came to a head in the most random place imaginable, Costco.
Costco? Okay, you have to tell this story.
So I'm there, just grabbing my usual bulk supply of paper towels and maybe a rotisserie chicken. You know, the essentials.
The essentials, of course.
And I walk past that giant wall of TVs they always have, and they're all turned on so you get that perfect high def reflection. I happened to glance over and I just stopped. I saw this person, this thinner guy, looking back at me, and for a solid 10 seconds, my brain did not connect that it was me.
Wow.
It was the strangest out of body experience. And then it hit me all at once. The 90 pounds that were gone, the entire journey, everything. And right there, between the giant bags of tortilla chips and the discounted suitcases, I just started crying.
No way. Right there in the aisle.
Full on tears, not like sobbing, but just this silent, overwhelming flood of emotion. People were definitely staring.
I can only imagine. But was it joy? Relief? What was that feeling?
That's the crazy part. It was everything. It was joy, absolutely. But there was also this profound sense of grief. I felt like I was mourning the big guy I'd been my entire adult life. He was my identity, my armor in a weird way. And suddenly, he was just gone.
That makes so much sense. You lose the weight, but you also lose a huge part of the identity that you've known forever.
Exactly. And nobody talks about that part. All the forums, the articles, the videos, it's all about how to lose the weight, how to manage side effects, what to eat for the best results. There's no handbook for what to do when you're done and you feel like a stranger in your own skin.
It's all focused on the before and during.
Right. And then there's how people treat you. The compliments are great, but sometimes they feel complicated, you know? Like, wow, you look so good now, which has this unspoken implication that you looked terrible before.
Yes, the classic backhanded compliment.
And friendships can change. The dynamic shifts when you're not the jolly fat friend anymore. It's a whole social recalibration you're not prepared for. And underneath it all is this constant nagging fear. What if I gain it all back?
Oh, the fear of regain. That must be immense.
It's like walking a tightrope 24/7. You feel like an imposter in this new body, and you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, for the scale to start creeping up again. Every meal, every social event feels like a test.
And it's not just about the food, right? It's the fear of losing this new person you've become. It's like you're not just afraid of gaining weight, you're afraid of losing your new life. So, how do you manage that fear and that identity shift? Because the medication can get you to the goal, but it doesn't solve the decades of mental programming.
That was the big realization for me. The GLP-1 is an incredible tool. It's like it quieted the food noise enough for me to finally hear what was really going on in my head. But it's not the whole solution.
Right, it's not a magic wand.
Not at all. I had to start building a new set of tools, mental tools. For me, that meant really digging into why I used food for comfort for so many years. It meant learning to sit with uncomfortable feelings instead of eating them.
That's a huge step.
It is. And it's ongoing work. It's about building an identity that isn't based on a number on the scale, whether it's big or small. Finding new hobbies, focusing on what my body can do now, not just what it looks like. It's about shifting the entire focus from weight loss to life gain.
I love that phrase. Life gain.
Precisely. The maintenance phase isn't passive, it's the most active part of the journey. It's where the real, lasting work actually happens. The goal isn't the finish line, it's the starting line for a completely new race.
That is such an important perspective to share.
So if you're out there and you've reached your goal, or you're getting close and you're starting to feel some of this, just know you're not alone. It's a normal, if rarely discussed, part of the entire process.
And it's a conversation we all need to be having more often.
Well, we're having it now. And that and so much more is what's in my new book. It's going to be first available on Amazon in paperback and on Kindle later this week. If you do get yourself a copy, please take a moment and leave a 5-star rating or a review. So wait a few days because they release on their own schedule. Then you can search for my name on Amazon or the book title, Still on a GLP-1.
I'll be checking daily to drop into my Amazon basket, my friend. And I love, love, love the cover.
Thanks, Sarah, for always being here with me. It means so much. And thanks to all our listeners. You were the inspiration for this second book. Love yourself, love your journey, all of it. The messy parts and the quiet victories and the 14-day plateaus. Love the messy, weird, and wonderful. Always remember the ordinary Tuesdays where nothing particularly interesting happens and you are simply, fully, peacefully alive in a body that is working with you instead of against you. That is the whole thing. Honestly, that is everything. And that's why I'm still on a GLP-1. My honest, hilarious, and surprisingly emotional truth about reaching your goal and maintenance. So, on behalf of Sarah, I'm Scott Johnson, celebrating my 3-year anniversary on this and my birthday next week. I'm celebrating my book launch, and most importantly, I'm celebrating each of you listening, wherever you are along your path. Always remember to love your journey.